Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. And as you see, we are currently heading to a maneuver node that's going to put us into orbit around Kerbin. There we go. And we are finally able to deliver our satellite vessels. Or our satellites, whatever. I kind of combined the name of the ship with the mission. And we have Mattis? We have Matt Kerman. I can't say his name. Matt Kerman is the one that's going to be putting these satellites into orbit. And he did a night launch, so not very easy to see anything, but in order to do these longer missions, we're going to need these satellites, so waiting until daytime, not particularly useful. Cut. So, now we're in orbit. We need to get... There we go. We need to go all the way up to... what was that number? 2008... 2.868? Ignore any sounds of typing you here. Oof, I got some heartburn. Oh, there it is. 2868.75. Seven, 8. Darn. Oh wait, it's 868, not 686. 8. Darn, too much? Too much? There we go. That's probably as close as I'm gonna get it. Okay, so we need to be moving this way. There we go. Now, one thing I was kind of foolish about is not putting any antenna on the main vessel of this ship. Probably would have been smart to do that, but I think we will be okay. This is going to be 47-second burn, and thankfully we still have our center. I don't know the terms. My brain, why are you failing me right now? We still have our orbit stage, I guess. Which, while it's not the most efficient thing in space, it has plenty of power, so we can pretty much just shove ourselves up to the geosynchronous area. In fact, I might have a little bit more fuel than I actually needed for this mission. But, better too much than not enough. I was a little bit late on that burn. But, should turn out fine. And now we can actually see the ship itself, thanks to finally being in some light. And you'll notice that it probably doesn't look anything like it was going to. That's because while I did get us mainly to where we were at in the tech tree, I didn't get the micro parts, so the satellites are going to be a little bit bulkier than I originally planned. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem, should it? Oh, there we go. Just turn on RCS to help cancel that out. And while I would like to keep this stage going, it doesn't really have any more fuel, so we're gonna just have to decouple. And the retro boosters failed to activate. Why does that happen sometimes? It's glitching the system. Okay, I want to get a reading for our max velocity with this engine, so our maneuver nodes are more correct. There we go. It's going to adjust our orbit slightly, but we can cancel that out. We have time. Close enough. Or I could just use RCS to kind of boost us that extra little bit of velocity we need. Let's see, I for forward. All in all, this actually doesn't really matter because the satellites themselves have engines, so why am I even bothering with this? Alright, all I need to do now is circularize our orbit. But I don't want to do too much. I want to give us a little bit of lenience in case we're not directly over KSC. Because if we're not directly over KSC, we're not going to be able to have our satellite actually communicating to anything. Meaning if we actually decouple it, it's going to be dead in the water, so to speak. Now, I actually find it kind of fascinating how when talking about space stuff, especially in sci-fi, a lot of the terminology is pretty much the same as if you were in a navy. There, that's more like it. The apoapsis to be moving this way, not that way. Because if it's moving this way, then we're on the wrong side of the apoapsis. It estimates it's going to be a 1 minute and 19-second burn. So, let's take a look at our ship. After I cough for a moment, excuse me. There we go. So, the designs are slightly different than they were going to be, which, you know, that's alright. And instead of having tiny bits of fuel to help them just correct their orbit when they're detached, they have a giant tank of fuel compared to their body size. Not ideal, but I guess beggars can't be choosers, right? And we have these antenna, or dishes, whatever you want to call them. Dishes is the correct term, I know that, just be quiet. We have these dishes, which are longer range than these ones, and these ones are probably going to be having pointing at the planet itself, or the other communication satellites, depending on their position. Why am I not speeding up while I'm doing this? Actually, I installed a pretty fun and useful mod. The Kerbal Alarm Clock. which lets me add alarms. And I'm gonna give this one a 2-minute window. So I can actually be sped up and not pay attention to the time because it will automatically slow us down when we get in the correct position. Like so. Delete the alarm right here. Okay, so where is the KSC? It's on the complete opposite side of the planet, so this is not a very good spot to be in right now. Because we want to be more or less over the top of the KSC, as close as we can get to make this as efficient as we can get it. But I'm gonna end up increasing our orbital trajectory a little bit, making sure that we're not in a complete... Actually, you know what? I think that I'm not even going to follow the maneuver node completely. I'm gonna go more with that. I think if I raise this up to 1 million, then we can get ourselves a fairly decent idea of where we want to be at. So, I might as well start burning right now. Now, the only problem that is going to really be happening with our ComSat delivery vessel is that as we're dropping off satellites, our center of mass is going to be shifting around, meaning these maneuvers are going to be slightly more challenging as we lose satellites, because we're not going to be balanced anymore. Darn it! I should have muted the mic for that one. Alright, so what's so... Oh, hello there. I found my fuel tank. The good news is that it is further down than our satellites are going to be, so our satellites should be perfectly safe. Alright, so what is so important about me actually getting these satellites in proper positions? Well, let me select mission control for this antenna's target, and then activate it. Now we're not going to keep it active for very long because we do not have our solar panels out, although technically I probably could stick them out. So, as you see, we aren't getting a line here, and we should be. Right? I don't even know anymore. I updated the mods, so I don't even know if it works as properly as it's supposed to. Well, let's deactivate that. And we're gonna do some time warp until we are in line with our mission control. Okay, that looks promising. And there we go. Now you see we have a green line going to KSC. This means we have a direct link to our command center. Now, what's important about that is that if we don't have a direct link to the command center, we cannot transmit data while we are doing anything in space. So for instance, see, I haven't gotten this bit of science yet, so I will keep this data, and we will close the satellite antenna down for now. And let's actually extend a couple of these panels because we are depleting our electric charge. So, crew report, oops, no, review report, transmit data. I cannot transmit because I do not have a line of communications. But if I activate this, and I review the report now, and click transmit, you can see I have actually transmitted the data now. I might as well extend these ones too. Alright, so we probably are in a decent enough spot that we will have a link to the KSC. So let's extend this. Oops. Well, that ends up working out well. I keep on feeling like I'm gonna have to cough every few minutes, and I know it's not because I actually have to cough, it's because I got some heartburn going on. Yeah, that works. Alright, so what's so important about the height of 2868? Well, that is the height at which your satellites will be synchronized with a single spot on the planet. So, if I have a satellite at the height of 2868 over the KSC, that means that satellite will always have an uplink to KSC. Now, why do I need 3 satellites? Well, if I'm trying to transmit data from on this side of Kerbin to the KSC, Kerbin's going to be in the way. And the satellite won't be able to pick it up because Kerbin will still be in the way. So, by having 3 satellites, you can kind of cut out Kerbin from the equation. There we go. I just want the apoapsis. Thank you very much. Almost got that right. So, now that we have one of these satellites active, let's decouple the active one, switch over to it, and yes, the torque is not quite that great on these. Extend these panels, extend these ones. Okay, so let's take a look at your orbit. Currently in orbit of... Gah! There we go. So we need to burn this thing in retrograde for a little bit. Too much. It's very finicky. That's probably about as perfect as I'm going to be able to get it. I mean, this thing has way more fuel than it needs, but I didn't have the parts to make it have less fuel. So, oops. And then this one, we're going to set the target to active vessel. I think that's what you need to do. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. I'll activate it, and our resources are staying stable. Good. So, let's switch back to our satellite delivery vessel. Oh, no, wait. I need to rename this thing. How do I do that again? Rename vessel. Comsat Alpha. There we go. So, while that thing is in orbit, we need to change our trajectory so that we are slowing down. Now, the reason we need to do that is so we can get the next satellite at a fair distance away from this one. And this is where the problems come in. You see, I have to actually be fighting against the weight of the other two satellites in order to slow ourselves down. Once the mission's over, though, it will be much better. And judging how little fuel I needed in those satellites, let's see, so that's 45 and 55. I think that will do. So we'll drop the other one down to 2485 and... there. So get a little more fuel in our main tank, less fuel in these satellites, and we will be probably happier. So, I'm going to cut away, and I will rejoin you guys after I have at least one of the other satellites into orbit. See you soon. I just wanted to prove definitively that I'm kind of an idiot. I forgot to activate one of the satellite dishes before I jettisoned the satellite. And I was smart enough to not quick save before doing so. So we have a dead satellite in orbit. Rud. But there might still be hope. Let's see. If we do that... Nope. Doesn't work. I'm such an idiot. So where is ComSat Alpha then? Because I don't see that in the list. I know it's over there somewhere, but... Unless it is... non-existent. Okay. I think we still have some problems. Okay, so I'm centered on something, obviously. And I'm able to control it. But it doesn't exist anymore. There it is! Okay, what the heck was up with that? Okay, so I can point this at the delivery vessel probe, but it's not going to do anything useful, is it? Oh! Oh! Nope. It didn't do anything useful at all. But the positive thing is this has stopped spinning. Okay, so I wonder... if I were to get closer to it, will I have the ability to communicate with the satellite? Speed up a little bit. I think maybe there's a chance that there's a short-range communication thing. I think I remember Scott Manley doing it, but he also uses a bunch of mods, so he might have had a different mod that allowed him to actually do that. Right. Darn, I don't remember the controls for the RCS. what was it to go forward? U is lights. H. H is forward. What's backwards? N? N's backwards. Okay. Okay, and no, still no connection. What if I'm closer? I'm gonna get as close to this thing as I can in hopes that there might be some sort of communication that we can do. I am not highly hopeful, however. I've probably completely screwed up this mission because I simply forgot to turn on a satellite. Fine-tune controls. Why do I never turn those on? We're about as close as I'm going to be able to get. I can still get a little bit closer, but any closer than 5 meters and it's not going to work. Still no communication, and we're pretty much right on top of it, so this mission has failed. It's all my fault, too. Well, I'm going to do the only rational thing that I can do, then. Mark it as a success of getting one satellite in orbit, and a failure as getting a communications network into orbit. I hate failing. Not so much. Well, only one thing for me to do. Attempt to deorbit myself with my payload still attached. Yeah, you know what? Set that to ComSat Alpha. Activate it. And decouple that one. And now this one has no connection. What the heck? Okay, you saw me activate this one. It's got electric charge, it has the satellite dish active. Huh. This is very weird. I'm still able to do stuff, like activate stages, but I can't control the vessel. I don't know what's going on with that thing. But I guess that's going to be an episode, because I am confused and slightly frustrated. I now have 2 dead satellites, one of which you know I activated before I decoupled it. So why it has absolutely no communication is beyond me. But hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and fave. I will see you next time. Take care, guys, and goodbye.